This week, I made $45,000 selling products on Amazon without having to touch a single product. And you see, that's the power of Amazon FBA when you know how to do it right. And that's exactly what I'm going to cover in this video. I'm going to go over the step-by-step strategy I use to scale my store to over 5.4 million in sales, and also how I helped hundreds of my students do the same exact thing. Just like Carlos, who went from a 9-to-5 job to making $1,800 in a single day without having to touch a single product or speak to a single customer. In the next 15 minutes, I'll show you the only beginner model that actually works in 2025. I'll also be going over the 3-point process I use to make sure I don't buy any dead inventory, and the #1 mistake that most beginners make when getting started with Amazon. I'll also be taking you under the hood of my store and showing you products that I'm currently selling as well. But before we dive into that, let's answer the age-old question, which is, what is Amazon FBA? Now, Amazon FBA stands for Fulfillment by Amazon. Here's what that means. You source inventory, your supplier then ships it to Amazon, and Amazon handles the storage, the shipping, the returns, and anything that's related to selling that product. And the beauty of this model is that you're not touching any inventory. You're just tapping into Amazon's infrastructure instead of trying to build that on your own. Here's where most people get confused, because this is where a lot of the misinformation lies about Amazon itself. And that is, Amazon FBA is not a business model. It's just a way to fulfill inventory to Amazon. And the business model you choose determines how much you're actually going to make with an Amazon business. Because with Amazon, there's 3 main approaches. And trust me, like, I've tried all of these. The first one is going to be private label. And this is what you most commonly see online. This is where you either buy products from China or you manufacture your own product. You create your own brand and you try to market and sell your own branded product on Amazon. Trust me, this is definitely a model that works, but you're gonna be competing against a lot of factory direct sellers, meaning that you're gonna get undercut. And generally speaking, a model like this is going to take a lot more capital. So if you're in a position where you have 50 to 100K, that's definitely a good starting point to get started with the private label business model. The second business model you'll see on Amazon is going to be wholesale. Now, this is where you call and build relationships with distributors, but understand with this model, it's very relationship driven. The only way to get good deals and pricing is if you already have an established relationship with the supplier, or if you could continuously build that over a 2 to 3 year time horizon. It definitely works, but scaling it is a real grind because you'll have to be on the phone 24/7. Now, the third model, which is my favorite for beginners, is arbitrage. And you see, with arbitrage, you don't have to be on the phone with suppliers, nor do you have to create your own product. Put simply, all you're doing is finding products that are already selling on the platform and just trying to source them for a cheaper price. I want you to think about products like Lego, Pampers, Nike. These are all brand name products that we as arbitrage sellers could sell on the platform. We're essentially just buying products that are being sold every single day. And you see, this is exactly how I scaled to $5.4 million in sales over the last 4 years. And it's just like my student, Julian. You know, at first he tried private label. He tried to create his own brand and buy the products from China. He spent thousands of dollars on inventory that just didn't sell because those products weren't proven. He eventually made the switch to arbitrage, and within his first couple weeks of doing arbitrage, he was already able to generate his first sales. And within a few months, he was able to do consistent $7,000 months on Amazon without having to touch any products or create his own brand. I call it the freedom formula. It's 6 simple steps that let you build a profitable Amazon business in 2025 without ads, branding, or any sort of complicated marketing. The next couple minutes, I'm going to be taking you under the hood and showing you products that I'm currently selling in my storefront. Now, the first step of the freedom formula is getting everything set up, along with the software you're going to need to start finding some profitable inventory. Now, the first thing we're going to do is get that Seller Central account set up, because without it, we're not going to be able to make any money, list any products, or sell any inventory. So the first thing I want you to do is go to sellercentral.com. As soon as you're on that page, go to the top right corner and press sign up. From there, it'll give you the option to create a professional account or an individual account. You're going to want to click on the professional account, which is going to be $39.99 per month. but it is required to get sales on Amazon. As an individual seller, you wouldn't be able to generate sales. Therefore, you're going to need that professional seller account. As soon as you get through that step, Amazon's going to ask you if you're signing up as an individual or if you're signing up as a business. You're just gonna wanna get set up as an individual, as you do not need an LLC to get started selling on Amazon. After you click individual seller, they're going to ask you for 3 things: your ID, a bank account, and a credit card. That's it. Once you got those and you input that information into Amazon, just follow the next prompts that it gives you. It'll ask you a couple questions, they'll have you verify your identity, and they'll just make sure that you prove who you really are. It's a very straightforward process. Also, one thing to note is that if you get stuck at any moment when it comes to setting this account up, you could just simply go to ChatGPT, screenshot the page where you're stuck, and you could ask ChatGPT, what do I do from here? And it'll give you a step-by-step guideline on what questions to answer correctly so you could get this account set up properly. Now from there, you'll get verified. It'll take around 24 hours. And once you're verified, congrats. You are now officially an Amazon seller. This is going to be where the fun really starts, because in the next step, I'm going to be showing you the 2 tools that will save beginners weeks of time. And that leads me into step number 2, getting the right software set up. Now, thing is, the number one reason Amazon arbitrage works for most beginners is because you could see what's already selling before you buy it. Unlike most businesses where you have to guess what's working, guess what will sell, they tell you how many times the product is selling per month. They tell you what fees they're going to be charging you. So all you have to do is just find it for a lower price to make your margin. And with these 2 tools, you're going to be able to pull that data from Amazon. The first tool is going to be Keepa. This is going to show you the full price history of a product. With this tool, you'll know if a product's consistently moving at the price point it's listed for on Amazon. The second tool is Seller's Amp, which is your built-in profit calculator. It'll tell you upfront before you purchase any product what the shipping costs are going to be, what Amazon's going to charge you, so you know if you're actually going to be able to profit on a product. And this isn't just a theory. One of my students, Sarah, tried sourcing without software and wasted months of time. Once she added Keepa and Seller's Amp into her setup, she went from guessing what was going to sell to knowing what exactly to buy. And within 3 weeks, she made her first $700 worth of profit. And you see, that's the power of using the right tools. Now that your toolkit's ready, now we're gonna move into step 3, which is how to use these tools and how to find your first profitable products on Amazon. So let's dive in. Now, one thing to note is that there are thousands of ways to find products on Amazon. But what I'm gonna do today is show you the easiest method in 2025 so you could start getting your first wins quick, just like Sarah did. So let me take you to my computer and I'll just show you how this is going to work. The first thing we're gonna wanna do is start with a product you already know. I want you to think of any sort of name brand product like Nike, Dove soap, Adidas. Type that in to Amazon.com. For this example, we're gonna start with great value products. I typed in great value products and I'm going to click on this listing. Now, as soon as I pull this listing up, Seller's Amp is going to pop up as it's an extension downloaded on my computer. From there, I'm going to scroll down to where I see sellers. Now, these are sellers that are already selling this product that you're looking at. And what we're going to do is click on one of these sellers and you could instantly see all the products that are selling in their storefront. And this is going to be how we find our first profitable inventory. Remember the saying, good artists copy and great artists steal? That's exactly what we're doing with this research strategy. That's why it works. Instead of guessing on what sells, you're able to see what products other profitable sellers are selling. As you can see with this seller I clicked on, you could see how many products he is selling right here. Now, you're going to go to the first product you see and you're going to click on the G button. And you can see all the suppliers on Google that are selling this price for a higher or a lower price. We're going to be targeting the suppliers that are selling it for a lower price. Now you can see with this example, this Lego set is selling for $30 on Amazon. We could see that right here. Now, Seller's Amp shows us that this product is selling 100 times per month. And after I pressed the G button, I saw that Walmart is selling the same exact set for $18. Now, I'm gonna go back to my profit calculator and type $18 in my cost price. And you can see after all Amazon fees, I'm gonna be left with around a $7 profit per sale. And since the buy box is pretty stable, I'm gonna be able to consistently sell this product for the next 6 to 12 months. But I just don't wanna show you a random example we found doing this product research strategy. I wanna show you an actual product that is selling in my storefront right now. And this is actually a product I've been selling pretty recently. Now you could see right here that the keeper chart in the sales rank is very consistent, meaning that the price is very consistent at where it's listed right now. And personally and roughly for me, this product makes me around a $7,000 profit per month. Now, I'm not saying your first product's going to look like this. I'm just taking you under the hood and showing you a product that we're currently selling. And you see, this is the same exact process me and my students are using every single day to find consistent, profitable inventory. It's not about guessing or thinking what's going to work. It's about reading the data and just genuinely seeing what's profitable. So now once you find a product, the question becomes, how do you know it's actually profitable and it's good to purchase? And this is going to be where Seller's Amp becomes your best friend. Because when it comes to looking at Seller's Amp, you're really going to want to look at 3 things. The first thing is going to be the best sellers rank, the BSR rank. Now, understand that the lower this rank is, the more sales you're going to be able to generate. So for a rule of thumb, I recommend all beginners to be top 1% of that category, which you'll be able to see in Seller's Amp. The second one is going to be profitability. Ideally, I'm looking for a bare minimum of a $3 to $5 profit per unit with at least a 30% return on investment. If you're making less than that, it's probably not worth your time of actually buying that product. And then the third thing I look at is that price stability on Keepa. So you could see if that product is consistently selling for that price point or not. If it's very consistent and it's a stable chart, it's a product worth purchasing. But if it's a product that has a lot of volatility, I'm probably not going to purchase that product. Now, when these 3 things line up, congratulations. You have found a product that you can actually purchase and get shipped directly to Amazon. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I know at the start that this might seem like a lot. It's a lot of information for a beginner to take in a 30-minute long video. And here's the thing, I don't expect you to be perfect doing this on your own right away. That's why I directly work with beginners and help them get their first sales on Amazon, help them check the profitability, and just make sure you're putting your capital in inventory that actually sells. So don't waste your time and money buying a product that doesn't move, doesn't make you a profit. So if you want more hands-on help and you want one-on-one support, I put an application link down below. That way, I could personally walk you through finding your first products to sell on Amazon, and I could personally check them for you. It's totally optional, but if you want to speed things up, the link is down below. But before you could even make your first sale on Amazon, after you purchase your first product, you're going to have to learn how to get products in Amazon's warehouse. And that leads me directly into step 4, which comes down to shipping products to Amazon. Now, trust me, when it comes to sending products to Amazon, there's a couple ways you could do it. But the truth is, if your goal is freedom, you don't want to be packaging boxes 24/7 at your home or at your apartment, then you're going to want to set up a prep center. And trust me, you don't want to be shipping out products, because this is what I was doing when I was first starting out. And the goal is to get this set up without having to touch any inventory. So the reason I recommend getting started with a prep center is because when it comes to actually sending products to Amazon, you have to have certain specifications and they have to be prepped in a certain way in order for them to accept your products. And that's what a prep center does. They make sure that it meets Amazon standards, and they also send it directly to the warehouse for you. So to find a prep center, you could go to prepcenternetwork.com and browse the list of prep centers. These are all Amazon certified prep centers, so you could pick the one that works best for you. Now, I would personally recommend choosing a prep center in a state with 0% sales tax, a state like Delaware or Oregon. My prep center is based out of Oregon. That way, you're instantly saving 7 to 10% in sales tax, depending on where you're from, on every single product you buy, because that adds up quick. And listen, one of my students, Jennifer, actually used to ship out all her inventory from her garage. She is spending hours a week packaging boxes and shipping them out to Amazon. But once she started working with me, I got her instantly set up with a prep center. So she could not only buy her time back, and it also tripled the amount of inventory she could source because she wasn't stuck doing manual mundane work anymore. That's the difference the right setup makes. So now at this point, you should have got your products prepped, shipped, and they should be sitting in the Amazon warehouse. Now, the next step, getting your first sales. This is going to be the best part of the business model because the moment your inventory checks into Amazon, you're tapping into over 300 million customers. That means you don't have to run ads. You don't have to create your own listing. You don't have to make your own website. Amazon has those buyers for you. You just got to make sure that that inventory becomes active and properly checks in, and then you'll start selling product. And that leads me into step 5, which is getting your first sales and selling your first products. Now, a lot of beginners actually think like this is where the hard work begins. It's hard to get your first sale because you have to convince someone to buy this inventory that you just purchased. But truth is, this is where you start reaping the fruits of your labor. Here's why. We're not reinventing the wheel. We already saw the product was selling on Seller's Amp. We're already selling on a listing that has hundreds of reviews and that is being bought hundreds of times per month. So all we need to focus on now to sell that inventory is to win the called buy box. Now the buy box is going to be that little box you see on every Amazon listing. 98% of all sales on Amazon are coming from that little box. And you may be wondering, well, Jayden, like, how do I actually win buy box? And here's the good news. If you're using FBA, which you should be, if you're this far in the video, and you're priced in competitively around that buy box price, Amazon will automatically rotate the buy box to you. That means that you're automatically going to start generating sales as soon as you get that buy box distribution. So all you have to do to get your first sales, just wait, that's it. Just to give you an example, one of my students, Brian, listed some Lego sets and some Dove soap on Amazon. And within 48 hours of those products reaching that fulfillment center, he got his first 12 sales. No ads, no gimmicks. It was just because he was priced in where that buy box price is. That's the beauty of this model. Once you put in the work of sourcing and finding that product, the Amazon machine takes over and does the selling for you. And that brings me to the most exciting part, which is step 6, because this is going to be where the real freedom kicks in. Because once you get that proof of concept, you get your first sales on Amazon, you catch something I like to call the Amazon bug. And let me tell you, this bug is more addictive than any substance that you've probably ever tried. Because the moment you see your first sales, everything changes. You realize you're way more capable than what your parents, what school, what society has told you. When I started Amazon, I was a 17-year-old kid, failing classes, parents pushing me to do college, but deep down, I knew that was going to lead me down the same outcome most Americans go down, living paycheck to paycheck, 9 to 5, with no freedom. Instantly, right when I saw those first sales, I knew that this was the way out. So to get that freedom you're looking for, it really comes down to one thing, and that is scale. Now, when it comes to scaling an Amazon business, it comes down to 2 things in specific. The first one is the product research engine. The more you do research, the more winning products you find. And the more winning products you find, the more products you're going to sell. And the more products you sell, the more profit you're going to be able to make. So you always want to make sure that you're consistently doing research and you keep that product research engine running. The second thing is going to be replenishables. The more products you find and sell out of, you want to make sure that you're replenishing that inventory, because as you scale, 40 to 50% of the products you buy, you're going to be able to sell for the next 6, 12, 18 months from now. And that's going to be that monthly reoccurring revenue for you. I want you to think about it as digital real estate. And you see, that's the power of Amazon. At first, the growth is going to feel slow because you're starting from zero. But as soon as you start finding 1 more product or 2 more products, you're going to be able to compound that growth over the next 6 to 12 months, because these are going to be products you'll consistently start selling. And that's the thing with Amazon. The longer you stay in the game, the longer these results compound. And look, I'll be real with you. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. Anyone telling you you could go make millions of dollars on Amazon in a week is lying to your face. But here's the thing. If you're in it for the long term and you're willing to put in the reps and do the work that's required to see results, the payoff's going to be massive. I just want you to take Bobby, for example. In his first 60 days of starting his Amazon business, he was able to achieve $2,000 in sales. By month 4, he hit his first $30,000 month. And within his first year, he was able to do $180K a month. Or take David, for example. His first year was stable. It was modest. He did around 6 figures in sales. Fast forward to 2025. Now he scaled his storefront to almost 7 figures. And that's the compounding effect in action. Once you build that engine, growth stops being linear and it starts multiplying. And that's the full process, from setup to sourcing to shipping to selling and eventually scaling this in a real income producing asset. Now, here's the truth. You could take everything I told you today and implement and go figure it out on your own. And if you stay consistent, you are going to see amazing results. But if you want to move faster, if you want to work with me directly and my team, and you want our help walking you through this one-on-one, step-by-step on how to find your first products and how to scale this business into a real income producing asset, I put a link down below so you could see if you qualify to work with me one-on-one. But again, if you want to cut the learning curve in half, work with me directly, apply below and let's see if I can help you. Either way, I appreciate you watching this video. And if you found it valuable, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below because I'm going to be dropping step-by-step trainings like this every single week. Now, this is Jayden. I'm going to be signing off and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.